This episode of Spectre Sound Studios is brought to you by ProMix Academy.
Funny how clients want unique, vintage gear, but also want to sound like everyone else.
Yeah, those are my favorite projects. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're gonna have an amazing Thursday, followed up by an even more amazing weekend. Is that amazing? No, let's just go with more amazing. I think that works. Anyway, it's time for everybody's favorite pro audio show, SMG Viewers Comments. That's where I try and answer your comments and questions, blah, blah, blah. You get the fucking idea. Anyway, big news. I actually fucking made it into a Netflix documentary. I got to give a big shout out to my Discord crew for this one. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. There's a series called This Is Pop on Netflix USA. Can't get it in Canada, of course, so had to VPN to check it out. And yeah, the second episode is about auto-tune, and guess who gets quoted right after Neil deGrasse Tyson? That kind of blew my mind, but anyway, that's really cool. No, they didn't reach out to me, and no, I don't even know if it's credited anywhere or whatnot, but it does fall under fair use, so zero fucks given. It was pretty cool that that quote made it into the show. Now millions are going to see that. That's kind of fucking awesome. Anyway, let's get right to it.
I bought a Marshall JMP1 preamp, vintage Dynacord tube power amp, 2x cabs, Marshall 1936 and angle 2x12, a bunch of distortion pedals, all this for having some sound options for clients. And they're asking me if I have Neural DSP plugins, even before hearing my records. I guess you need to have both amp and cab and VSTs today.
Yeah, that strikes me as a little odd. Why are potential clients asking you if you have like Neural plugins? It's like, if it's Neural plugins, just like go buy them yourself. They're only a couple $100. Yes, they sound good, and yes, they will definitely get you to your goalpost a whole lot faster than learning how to mic up amps and all the rest of it. I mean, it took me about 10 years to figure out how to mic an amp correctly and get the amp dialed in correctly and get everything sounding the way I wanted. That's why the theme show for the song is called The Eagle Has Landed, because I finally felt like I did my moonshot and pulled that off. Although it's a little weird that they would ask you for an amp sim by name, the great thing is it's not going to cost you a whole lot of money to actually have that amp sim in stock, but it's only going to be great for the next year or two till something better comes along, as it always does with computer technology. Of course, the counter argument to all of that would be, it's like, yes, I have that plugin, but I've got the real fucking thing it's trying to emulate. I got an idea. Let's use the real fucking thing. Duh!
Glenn, mixing on headphones is shit because they are not accurate. Mix on monitors, you morons. Also, Glenn, you have to build your house around your monitors in order for them to sound accurate.
Nobody said this was easy. Yeah, you can't just throw up a set of monitors in a bare bones room and expect to get great results. You have to think about where they are set up in the room and how the sound is going to react in the room, because rooms are not flat frequency response. The fuck is your major malfunction? This is not a difficult concept to grasp. It is a little bit more difficult to implement. So yes, please do a little homework, do a little research, and you'll wind up getting better results. That being said, I'm not getting paid to say this. Austrian Audio sent me a new set of open back headphones that I'm going to be checking out in a couple weeks for mixing. Hopefully they're going to be a good solution. We'll see. I'll let you guys know.
Some good stuff here, but I'm worried you're going to have a stroke. Also, engineers and artists have different visions. Just because it makes things easier for you doesn't make it better. You are paid to do a job and your personal opinions are not required.
Yeah, the whole work with artists and getting paid thing, that's where you're kind of wrong there. You work with artists and hope you get paid. I can't think of how many times I've been stiffed over the years by bands that break up mid-project or whatnot. I'm like, it happens and it fucking sucks. Here's the thing. As an engineer, especially as an independent recording engineer, yes, you do have to put your opinion forward because you're ultimately trying to save the band money, because they're going to otherwise spend money that they don't fucking have. That's the whole fucking point of this show, in case you missed it. If you want to go in the studio and throw your money away, by all means, let's hear your artistic vision. I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing. If you want to come into the studio and save as much money as possible, maybe try paying attention.
As someone who is just starting out, the prices of some of this gear seem astronomical. $649 to up to almost $3,000 for a single piece of gear makes you wonder how you're supposed to build your studio and afford to eat at the same time. I know I could get more clients or charge more, but as someone just starting out, getting more clients can be hard, and it may be hard to justify raising your hourly rate with very little experience under your belt. Time changes everything, but right now it seems impossible to break out of the recording mixing in the box.
Did you consider getting a day job? All right, everybody, this episode's brought to you by my friends over at ProMix Academy. This week, they've got something brand new I know a lot of you guys are going to like. It is mixing Static X with Ulrich Wild. The song is called Hollow, and if you're a Static X fan, yeah, go grab it. Go grab the tracks, learn how to mix that kind of stuff. It's really cool. Ulrich's an awesome dude. I've had the privilege of having him on the show. I've got to hang out with him on several occasions. Just a really cool guy who's done a lot of really amazing projects. He did a lot of the Deftone stuff. He did Pantera's Great Southern Trendkill. He did White Zombie's Astro Creep. Yeah, going over to Ulrich's place, it's like, seeing all the records on the wall. It's like, oh, got that one, got that one, got that one, got that one. Ulrich is an absolute trip. He's a great teacher, and the lesson's only $57. Links in the description below. Go check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's face it, Glenn is a dismal guitar player, has definitely not done his 10,000 hours. Previously, I was a retail dealer. 100% tone makes a difference. We all know that. I feel like Glenn's need for a clickbait argument supersedes his reliable information. Just like his tubes don't matter escapade, or the null test actually proved there was a difference, yet he was claiming there wasn't. So he formed a scientific test, avoided the actual results for his own alignment out of his views. I've been a fan for years, but insulting people who have spent 30 years playing their instruments is shitting on your audience for kicks. I'm out.
Okay, before everybody gets their backs up and calls Chris an asshole, he's not. Okay, we've talked a little bit since then. It's kind of like, we agree, there's definitely probably some common ground we can find here. I do got to call you out on the whole Tonewood thing, Chris, though. I mean, I had 2 purpose-built guitars made, and absolutely nobody could pick out where the 2 different guitars were in a mix. And from a recording studio perspective, and that's what this show is all about, hence Spectre Sound Studios, not the Spectre Sound Guitar Show. Tonewood's really not going to make a difference in a studio situation. Oh, but what about sustain? Well, then call it Sustainwood, not Tonewood, because it really doesn't do jack shit. If it does, it's about that big a difference. And going back on the tubes thing, I'll say this, I've re-examined my test, and the one thing I didn't do right was I did not do a control test. Because when we flit the phase, we got a lot of crackling. So I'm wondering if that's aliasing we're hearing from the converters being slightly out of sync when the signal's reamped through them. So I might revisit that test and see if I can do it a little bit better, and of course make a control test with the same signal coming in and out of the converters being reamped, without changing anything on the amps or tubes or anything, just to see what we get as a control test, see if they cancel out completely or not. Somebody else suggested to me that I do the test at 192 kilohertz because I'll probably get better results as well. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a better test and see how it goes. The one thing about the tube test I said was, does it make a difference? And the answer was probably not. And the one difference it did make, and I did say this, was an amplitude. Some tubes are louder than others. And the thing is, human perception is flawed, and we always perceive louder as better. That's why we had the volume wars, in the early 2000s with CDs just being louder and louder and louder, much to the detriment of the actual music being made. You can't have all loud all the time, but that's a subject for another video. Once again, I don't want to see people throw money away on things they don't need. And throwing money away on very expensive sets of tubes where the results are going to be negligible in terms of tone is a big one for me. I don't want to see people throw any kind of money away on ridiculous nonsense like that. Will they make your amp slightly louder or slightly quieter? Yes. Will they have any effect at all on the amp's overall frequency balance? That's what I'm concerned about. And my test pretty much proved that no, it does not, because tubes are not equalizers.
James Randi established a $1 million fund as a reward for any person who can prove that he has supernatural abilities, and Randi included the ability to hear the difference in expensive cables into the list of such abilities. Journalists from Stereophile magazine accepted his challenge. The cable company, Pearl Cables, first supported the idea, but then denied to provide the cables for the challenge in the last moment.
Oh yeah, James Randi was the man, definitely. Holy shit! If you guys don't know who he was an illusionist, and one of his things was debunking bullshit, and it was like he debunked a major cult back in the 70s or something like that. Like there was this guy who was fleecing a lot of people for a lot of money, and Randi came along and just destroyed him. And I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. If you guys haven't been able to tell, I'm also a big fan of the show Penn and Teller Bullshit, where they debunk a lot of crap. So one of the big inspirations for this show was the Penn and Teller show. Once again, I've seen guitar players go on and on and on about vacuum tubes, myself included. I have always thought if you buy a new set of tubes, it's going to change your tone. You're going to get much better results. And once you actually start to eliminate the variables, turns out there's not a whole lot of difference, if any at all.
I'm so glad you're experimenting with different kinds of production. There is never one way to make great music, and that's what makes it so great. As long as it's fresh, it's all good to me.
I'm all for the fresh as well. Let's try new ideas. Let's try new things. Let's stop with all using the same impulse responses and drum samples that everybody else is using, because that shit's getting a little stale.
I know this is about drums, but I really like that I can really hear the bass in these mixes. I feel like a lot of mixes completely make the bass unnoticeable.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy that. Stay tuned to the show. All I can say is, on the bass front, something interesting is in development over at Spectre Digital. Can't say for certain when we're going to make an announcement, but we are working hard at it, and I think you guys are really going to like it.
Most guitar processors have lines out. No need for a DI box.
Dude, it's a $150 to $200 direct box. Spend the fucking money, you cheap fuck! Seriously, that's the worst possible advice you can give someone. The great thing about a DI box is you can split the signal before it goes to your digital wonder box and record it clean in case you want to reamp it down the road or split it off to another amp. There's a whole different set of options you can do. I don't understand why guitar players, they'll go on and on and on about this pickup, these strings, this pick, blah, blah, fucking blah. Ask them to pony up for a direct box. They'll, oh, we can't do that. That's money. It's like, seriously, it's probably one of the smartest investments you can make if you're recording guitar. Just fucking do it and stop being a whiny bitch about it.
I expected the Ailstorm tone to be thinner since they sit in a fairly populated mix. Such an underrated band in terms of musicality and tone. The full mix at 236 is the best guitar-driven mix I've heard for months. Fuck you, Glenn.
Thanks very much, man. I really worked my ass off on that mix. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now, the mix he's referring to was on the SLT Lassa Lambert amp demo. Yeah, I've been a huge fan of Lassa's rhythm tones for years. The first Ailstorm disc in particular is a favorite of mine. I just love the rhythm tone on that. So yeah, that one turned out pretty well. If you guys missed that video, I'd really recommend checking it out. That's a really awesome sounding amp sim. It's very easy to get good sound quickly. So that would be another one of those things that the clients are probably going to ask that you have alongside your massive rack of tube amps. So there is that as well. Seriously though, check out that demo. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Glenn, what can we do if the drums have the ugliest bearing edges? Still recording with that issue? I tried it recording and playing, and the tune goes to hell, but I don't spend too much money for buying new drums. And here in my country, here are no people who can repair drums, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, I am no drum repair expert. I read about this once in a magazine about 2 decades ago. One thing you can try doing is putting candle wax on your bearing edges that'll help the skins align a little bit easier if they're all rough as fuck. That will definitely help smooth things out. So I'd say give that a try. Start with one drum, not your entire kit first. Find one where it's really bad, and yeah, grab a candle and rub it across there and reseat your skins. That should help you out quite a bit. So I'm going to ask you guys, the audience, if you've got any tips for Dissort, could you please share them in the comments below? Because I'd like to learn something here too about dealing with shitty bearing edges. Oh, and on the drums front, I'm going to be saying bye-bye to my DW kit very soon. And I'm going to be working with a brand that actually wants to be seen on this show and wants to support the show. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be doing a whole new series on recording drums in the 2020s for metal. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a follow-up to my original series, How to Record Heavy Drums, which is like 5 years old at this point, and we could always do with an update. I know a lot of you guys have requested it, so it's finally going to happen, and I'm going to be working with a brand new set of drums to do it, and I'm really looking forward to getting them. It's going to be cool.
Yes, number 12 seems to shatter more egos than anything. I've done it with guitars and amps too. If you want to see a band cry like babies, show them the far superior instruments you are willing to let them use for free. When they refuse to use them, remind them that they are paying the engineer by the hour to intonate their guitars and pull the duct tape off their drums so they can be tuned.
Yeah, that was all about use the house kit if the studio has a high quality set of drums. I mean, yeah, that was the greatest argument I had in here for bands was, oh, I want to use my drum set. And it's like, what, DW Collector's Maple isn't good enough for you? What are you, nuts? You know, I basically had a policy. If the drummer was going to bring in a super high-end kit, absolutely. If you can match DW quality, no problem at all. I'll be more than happy to record it. And those guys are usually heavily invested in their kits and can usually play really fucking well. So those sessions are actually a lot of fun. Like we had a drummer called Jeff LaLasher come in here. He had a local guy build him a kit, and I don't know, it was like 9 pieces or something like that. Big Rush fan. He was definitely Neil Peart inspired in his playing. That guy was an absolute joy to work with, and I hope to get him on the show this year once everybody gets vaccinated, because I look forward to having some more drummers in here. Jeff, if you're watching this show, dude, I'd really like to get you on sometime this summer. I think it'll be absolutely amazing. Those are the fun sessions to do, believe me. And yeah, I've got a wall of guitars in here that all work amazing, that stay in tune. You know, usually don't have the usual bullshit that musicians bring in. And for the most part, most are pretty keen to the idea of working with a higher quality instrument to get the best results possible. Every now and then you get the ones, I'm going to use my stuff or I'm not doing it, but that's pretty rare. Most musicians are mature enough to realize that, hey, if we use a good instrument, chances are we're going to get a better result. I know, real difficult concept to understand, but sometimes you got to remind people about that.
If someone is going to sell me drum samples, I'd rather be the shouty, angry, anti-drum samples guy. You know, Glenn wouldn't risk putting his brand on something that's shite.
Well, of course not. Yes, the SMG Ironic Drums, I got to follow up that video, show you guys where the samples are, and I'm going to take you guys in a little bit more in depth to what that sample set has to offer and what it sounds like doing a full replacement versus blending, that kind of thing. It's really cool for augmenting. It's good for adding a little extra snap to the snare, that kind of stuff. And one of the big requests when I introduced that set is like, could I take a set of not so well recorded drums and do some augmentation on those? And yes, I think I've got a couple different examples I can work from. Some of the guys who've submitted tracks from Merciless Metal Mix Reviews have got some, let's just say some drum recordings that could use a little help. Maybe I'll do that and see what I can come up with. Anyway, that's going to be a few days before I get onto that. I was going to have that come out on Friday, but Focusrite just sent me a brand new Redline 16 to check out. So I'm really anxious to unbox that and try that out. So I'm going to do that first. Sorry, the whole new toy thing. I mean, like, even at 50, it still hits me. It's like, ooh, want to play with a new toy. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Dude, I know you're a rocker heavy metal guy, but do you really have to keep screaming all the time? LOL.
I promise you this. I will stop screaming when you guys stop making the same fucking mistakes all the time.